I'm making this an audio recording for the astrology video that I want to present all of you with today. So, in today's video, or audio video, I'm going to be talking about a very, very prevalent placement in my personal life. This placement is one in the natal chart that really fascinates me. It's very intriguing. It is also very misunderstood how the moon, the planet of emotions, the planet of sensitivity, and, connection with others, caring, nurturing, and what makes you feel comfortable emotionally is in, I think, the most detached sign of the entire zodiac, sign 11, the water bearer Aquarius. And when you put the moon, which is your emotions, into the sign of non-emotions and intellectual information, and Aquarius is very humanitarian, Aquarius is very broad-minded, it can also be philosophical, like Sagittarius as well. It looks to the global scale of things and wants a more utopian society. Aquarius is represented by the water bearer, and really bear in mind that symbolism. The symbolism is the water bearer with the pitcher of water up in the sky, pouring it down on everyone from this higher place of being that's very advanced and above it all, and reflects down knowledge, brings knowledge forth to the people to continue to expand and move into new ages, because we have to keep expanding. We got trains, and we got computers, and we got phones, and all of this technology, which is Aquarius, these new innovations for the future. And so I could talk so much about the sign of Aquarius, but when you put the moon in the sign of Aquarius, you have a very detached individual that, while is very charitable and very has the belief that people were born to be free and born to be individuals, and not being too nitpicky, not trying to break others down because of their uniqueness. Really, a gift of this placement is letting people have their own freedoms for things, but the downside is that, well, the keywords are aloof, detached, and unemotional. And I want to own what I say when I say unemotional. This can be an individual that does not show the emotions of crying or wearing the heart on the sleeve sort of a type of individual. Instead, the emotions are more internal and filtered more through the intellect. And this may not be the warmest type of person that you may be around. But remember that love comes in many forms. It isn't only having to be the Leo, warm-hearted, loyal, very enthusiastic sort of love that has that sort of heart-filled generosity to it and expression of emotion. It can also come in other forms as well. So I may be giving away some of the things with this placement, but I'm going to read this off to you for Cafe Astrology. This is from Cafe Astrology, which will talk about the moon being in Aquarius. And this may go over a couple of the things that I may have talked about, but there is many, many more things that I want to get to with this placement that is found in the reading. So what is the moon? The moon represents the emotional responses, unconscious predestination, and the self-image. The moon represents the emotions, and the moon shows how a person expresses themselves when at home, at ease, and comfortable. So it's quieter and more internalized. So what happens when a person, in this case it is a he, and really, really keep that in mind. Keep that in mind. But I mean, it can be the same for a she, but let's just say, because I put this in for an individual's horoscope, who was a he, I'm using a male as an example for this. So, what does it mean for man or for woman, hopefully, if the moon would be in Aquarius? So it says that Moon and Aquarius people are extremely observant. So they would stand around to the sidelines instead of just getting involved. They would look. They are lifetime students of human nature. Remember, Aquarius is the humanitarian sign. Loving to analyze why people do what they do. This often stems from a detached, and I just want to stop right there because detached is the key word for this placement. Detached. That's, you can't talk about this placement without using that word. This often stems from a detached, even shy personality, particularly in youth. Now, I'm going to own that I am not an astrologer and I have not observed so many people that I'm aware of with this placement, but maybe in a woman's chart this would show up as a more sociable and outgoing sort of placement, because of the, not that males are not, but I think that for males, certainly in my life, it would show up to be a quieter, shy, there's a shyness when it comes to this placement. And when I read this, it resonated. It really, really did. It made sense. So even shy, personality, especially in youth. Whether due to character or conditioning, Moon and Aquarius people often grow up feeling outside of the box, different from everybody else. You could be sitting around at your table at dinner time, and you just feel like you don't fit in. You feel uncomfortable because of that disconnection. Although rather sociable, they are often loners at heart. Now, when I said shy and when I talked about the woman's chart, I was just offering my, my thinking and my opinion, theoretically speaking. So I want to own that. So they are often loners at heart. Many have strong egos, or at least powerful defense mechanisms. And that's so important to know because it can really, really make for the mixed feeling of a moon in Aquarius, and it can also, because Aquarius is a sign of either being so open or being so defensive and so rigid, because Aquarius is fixed air after all. And what can be misunderstanding and very interesting for me is this ego, while being shy and aloof and all these things, there is a fixity. Well, there is a stubborn defensiveness with this. So, that's very interesting. When it comes to Moon in Aquarius, because remember, Aquarius is the sign opposite to Leo, which is all about your ego, all about, how do I look when I am going to the banquet this evening? How am I dressing? Did I get all, and so Virgo comes after Leo, which is all about, the details of yourself and others. But Aquarius is opposite that. And after that comes Pisces, which is the Vanishing Mirror, a card in the Shaman's Dream Oracle deck by Colin Baron Reed. Because, the mirror is a huge symbol, and a huge object. If your ego was a household object, then it would probably be a mirror. You cannot look in the mirror without having that ego sort of awareness. And I didn't say that. Deborah Silverman, the astrologer, says it. Her channel is featured. Hopefully it's featured below. It is. Should be. Definitely. So powerful defense mechanisms. And most lunar Aquarians, lunar being the moon, by the moon, will do their best to be the most unique and unusual person that they can be. Remember, Aquarius is very, unique. Guy Fieri was an Aquarius, and people were so drawn by how flashy and how rad his clothes are and his style, and what he does with his show on the Food Network, Diners, Drive-Ins, and Dives. He is an Aquarius. So they want to be unique. They don't want to be like everyone else. I was reading a book about the sun moon being in Aquarius. It said the worst thing that you could possibly say to an Aquarian is, you remind me of somebody that I know. No, they don't want to hear that. They don't want to be like others. They want to be their own person individually. So, their inner feeling of loneliness that they don't quite fit in puts them on the outside, looking in instead of being in, and hopefully attached and connected. There is a very idealistic and progressive streak in lunar Aquarians that is admirable indeed. They're very idealistic and philosophical as well. It's like looking in your, again, observing not feeling not being connected. So, idealistic, progressive. However, when the moon is in Aquarius, natives will often deny the more irrational qualities of emotions. It is of an Aquarian belief that, we should, emotions, Saturn, Capricorn emotions interfere with achievements, getting things done, and people moving to a utopia. We can't have all our negative emotions going around and lowering the frequency of so many things on the planet. So, they are really above all those emotions, that whole Scorpio underworld land of the intense emotions, and all of the stuff, with that, so above it, and above, is a key word, with moon in, Aquarius. So, irrational qualities of emotions include jealousy, possessiveness, and fear. In an effort to be above what they consider pettiness, or just, silliness, being judgmental, as I said, non-judgmental. Really, really letting people have space to be the person that they are, not getting on them or not trying to, impose, where it can get like, oh no, you're restricting my freedom. So, possessiveness, possessions, attachment to those possessions, not. When this goes too far, lunar Aquarians can be emotionally blocked, distant, and detached, from others. It can be difficult to, really, really feel their feelings at a deep level in a way that they can express them, because it is often difficult to express the feelings in those sort of ways. And so there needs to be a connectivity to, your emotions and to others, and a more heart-centered, compassion, connection to others. And detached Aquarius is in the head. It's all mental, and not dropping into the heart and all things, leoning. So, lunar Aquarians can be very willful, especially in childhood. With age, these natives generally learn to handle their strong needs. Their desire for independence is powerful indeed, no matter what their age. So they know what they need, and they handle their emotions very, very well, as well. So no matter what their age. With a quiet sun and or ascendant, their desire to shock others is not always apparent until a relationship becomes comfortable, until you get to know them. They may shock you with things that they do, with things that they may say. When it gets to where they're feeling comfortable, because I believe that they can bring up a lot of things in which you're not aware of a lot of stories going on, a lot of those types of things, and really, really saying it in a very straight way that leaves you where it can be hard because there is a very, very high level intelligence. And maybe at a low level, it can be like a know-it-all. I am more intelligent than you. I am, that sort of thing, and it can, isolate, itself and not be very queering and not being open to the individual perspectives of other people, and in an egotistic way, deeming them below or less than or dumb or whatever. So they are genuinely proud of their family members, boasting just how unique they are. With their families, when their families are ultra conservative, rebelling against government, so many things. And I don't know about that. I don't really know about that, because you can have somebody with Moon and Aquarius born into a very liberal family. So I'm just going to disregard that entirely. So the boast will be that they rebelled against all of that, apparently. So Aquarius is the rebel, but on the upside, the rebel for a cause, and rebelling to break the mold, to change the rules, to be the individual, to be innovative, but not in a way that hurts others. That's the real big thing. Hinders the relationship and such. Hurts the relationships. Although given to temper tantrums and willful behavior in youth, Moon and Aquarius people often grow up feeling that messy emotions are unappealing. They often pride themselves for being cool-headed, detached, and above what they consider the more base emotions. Mature, very, disciplined, very controlled in their emotions and all those types of things. In this process, they can end up, so in this process, now the shadow side of doing this, of being so above the emotions and all those things, of the emotions of others and how others are feeling, and about things and what they need, what they want, and all of, again, there's only so many ways to say this, the emotions of feeling like, I need to have these certain things, for this very, very important trip that I'm going on. These are things I want. They really, really can depend upon a lot of things. But the shadow side is Aquarius. I was reading that it was referred to as the alien sign. They can end up alienating others and separating themselves from others, and others are then separated from this person. So it's sort of a repel magnet from, this person repelling away from these people, and thereby it's natural for them to just repel against this lunar Aquarian, because there's just not that emotional sort of sympathy, understanding, and it can be hard to be open or draw your, build your bridges, and rely on them, in so many different types of things, because of that wall. And I'm trying to think of something else, which I was gonna say. So it's just this closing off from others, that they would just, the fence would be built and you would have to climb and climb to get across it. And a huge thing is, if you would have to be in a certain mindset or state of being, when it's not like, it doesn't feel natural. It doesn't feel like, when you breathe, which is totally natural, you can easily get along and connect with this person who is detached and who is choosing to detach in an unhealthy way to others emotionally. And, but you can't always operate from the headspace. You need to drop into the heart. And that's just what I want to say. So in the process, they can end up alienating others. You feel like this person, there's just not a sort of closeness. Possibly this could be the uninvolved parent, isolating, going on with the job, with the, getting out of the house, being away from the family so often and not spending enough emotional quality time. And the sad thing is, possibly when, they would try, it's pet rocking, and that is my word for underwhelming. Like, whatever happens, it just doesn't feel like enough. It just does not feel like you are being, that this is satisfactory for you, that this is meeting your needs and your wants, that you feel totally nurtured by this person. So that can be a downside with this as well. So it's very complex, and keep in mind, this is not a moon in Cancer or a moon in Pisces or a moon in Virgo. This is a moon in Aquarius, which makes it so much more interesting because Aquarius is social, communicative, the air sign. Air is connection. We all breathe air, connected, but it can be disconnected. When you're looking at technology and videos, you're connected to the whole world, but you're detached as well. So connected but disconnected. So mental, as in terms of through the heart. So alienating others and themselves. Again, making them feel dumb, less than, wrong, small, less intelligent, below them, just like they don't have it figured out. They didn't go through all the proper research and the proper problem solving to be able to figure this thing out, or just that sort of thing as well. And there's many ways that I could explain that. But although lunar Aquarians can be especially adept at understanding others' behaviors and motivations, they can lose touch with their own, simply because they have identified too strongly with what they desire to be. Positive side rising above their flaws, negative side, again, not connected with their emotions, not in that heart energy. That's that heart space and the connection with others, thereby doing that heart connection love, compassion, all those types of things. And these aspirations are also superhuman. The real authentic, sort of genuine, people, person, type thing. Not very lunar Aquarian. So wanting the relationship that is above others, wanting somebody who doesn't judge them for who they are in a way that hurts them, prohibits and restricts them being individuals and being unique and different from everybody else. So there's a real sensitivity, because the moon is sensitivity towards that as well. So simply because they're identified too strongly with what they desire to be. So the Aquarian tendency to be humanitarian shows up powerfully in Moon in Aquarius. However, the kindness and concern for others is generally more of a broad philosophy of life. It's not narrowed down into the one-on-one relationships, into the husband and wife and kids sort of relationship and environment, where there's so much compassion and giving for large charities and large groups and organizations and a large number of people, really getting into the relationship. It's just a repel magnet. It's just not the feeling close to this type of person, because they're resisting already. They are detached and they're moving away, want to be free, and all those sorts of things, and the observer as opposed to the getting involved, and all those types of things. So that can be a downside. With people close to them, Moon and Aquarius natives can seemingly lack compassion, understanding, emotional connection for others, and it's more mental sympathy, ethics, and morals of being kind and all these types of things, when it can be inauthentic in the heart sort of space, your feelings, what you really feel, which really genuine in that arena. So seemingly lack compassion, as they are fully expect to others to be as independent and detached as they are, when newsflash, people are not like you. They're very, very different, and it is very Aquarian to, possibly embrace and being open to the differences of others. So letting them be their own self, but then, again, that know-it-all thing that I talked about earlier, as well. So, in close personal relationships, however, lunar Aquarians generally give others a lot of personal freedom, which is a very, very good thing. And they will tolerate. They need to be tolerated, accepted as they are fully, and enjoy all kinds of idiocracies and people around them. Moon is connection, and especially Venus and Aquarius, the question is, can we just be friends? Because when you're friends, there's more freedom. You can, it's not as complex and not so many things as a real, not a real relationship, but marriage sort of relationship. So, Moon and Aquarius people, this is a key to keep in mind. Moon and Aquarius people are really flighty people. So, very talkative, up there, sort of thing. Air, flighty. The birds fly in the air, soaring their wings into, flying across the sky. And they take flight. It's very lofty. They're free. And so they want to be free birds. So they're rarely flighty people, but they can be unreliable when it comes to little things in life. Often this is simply an assertion of their independence. In the long haul, however, they are rather constant, as Aquarius is fixed. So, it's fixed. It's fixed, self-explanatory in its beliefs and what it wants, and its philosophy, belief system, all those types of things, how it sees the world, situations, feelings as well. So, not that Moon Aquarius people don't have emotions. That's not true, because I believe, everyone feels emotions in their own way. It's just the sort of expression of these emotions I want to get on. So, so Aquarius is fixed. As long as they have their own space and the freedom to be themselves. However, kooky they may be, they are trustworthy and loyal. It's fixed science, loyal. Lunar Aquarians generally make wonderful friends. They'll make a point of leaving nobody on the outside, including everybody, because Aquarius is that equilibrium. It's that, I don't want to put you down because of, you being black, per se, from this particular place or background or whatever. Many will fight for others' rights and crusade for equality. What may be surprising is that Moon and Aquarius people have a lot of pride. Remember, sign opposite Leo. It is that lion, the pride. In fact, when, they're detached, shy aloof, with this comes pride. In fact, when they've been attacked in any way, especially regarding their character, they can become very inflexible and cruel. It can be difficult to know just how sensitive to criticism lunar Aquarians are. And this is something that needs to be understood, because, Moon in Cancer, of course. Moon in Pisces, Moon in Virgo, of course. It may be one of the things about lunar Aquarians. It may not show the sensitivity or vulnerability, but what goes on, internally, may be very misunderstood. They can become very inflexible and cruel. It can be difficult to know just how sensitive to criticism lunar Aquarians are, because they're, very, very intelligent and all these types of things, and then you're telling them, they're wrong. Which they would have a difficult time at times opening up to and believing, and agreeing with, because, of course, them being as advanced as they are, it can be difficult not to lower down, but to be open and humble enough to listen to others' perspectives, others' feelings, others' beliefs, things like that. So, simply because they hide it as well as they do. when their character or behavior has been criticized, they tend to dig in their heels and keep right on doing it, stubbornly doing the same things over and I don't care what you think, I don't care, I want to do what I'm going to do, and I'm going to march to the beat of my own drum, sort of thing. These sometimes, okay, so they fully expect others to accept them exactly as they are, or they don't have much use for them in their lives. So not a whole lot of judgments and pettiness. No, not at all. These sometimes maddening, if not at all, judgments. These sometimes maddeningly unpredictable people are nevertheless quite charming. They have an unmistakable stubborn streak, but when left to themselves, they make unusual and endlessly interesting people to be around. Life just wouldn't be the same without Lunar Aquarian's unusual spin on the world and the people in it. So, the upside is making wonderful friends, being very sociable, adding great sort of conversation about these broader humanitarian themes. So, trendy, trend-loving. So, sociable, intelligent, and lucid. Thanks to great sociability, he has many friends. She has many friends. He or she is modern, original, inventive, nonconformist, and is likely to bring new life to everything that he or she does. So eccentric with sharp mood swings, complex love life. So that's what I want to talk about today.